Who is Warren Buffett? Warren Buffett, Oracle of Omaha, is a famous American businessman and investor, ranked as the third richest person in the world with a fortune of nearly $90 billion. Currently, Buffett is the chairman, CEO, and also the largest shareholder of the multinational joint stock company, Berkshire Hathaway. Not only is he known as the most successful investor of all time, he is also famous for being a simple, generous person and having a particularly frugal lifestyle, unlike other billionaires. Below is a series of detailed infographics about the life, career, and investment philosophies of Warren Buffett. Biography and life of Warren Buffett. Childhood. Warren Buffett was born on August 30, 1930, born and raised in Omaha, Nebraska. He is the second child in a family of 3 sisters. His father, Howard Buffett, was a U.S. congressman who served for 4 terms and was also a stockbroker. From a young age, he showed differences from his peers. While the kids around him only liked to play football on the street, he spent time reaching out to Wall Street. An event that is considered the beginning of his big goal was when he was 10 years old. During a visit to New York, Buffett's father took him to lunch with a Dutch trader. He witnessed with his own eyes the waiter rolling a cigar with many different types of tobacco leaves, choosing according to the teller's wishes. Simplify stock analysis and valuation software in just 3 minutes. Simplify uses artificial intelligence (AI) technology to provide users with the tools and information needed to quickly and effectively price and analyze securities. Being an AI is an intelligent system capable of learning and analyzing data from hundreds of different information sources, from financial news to market indices, helping you eliminate trading emotions and forecasting potential stocks. Visit website www.simplyz.vn. He was very impressed with this custom-made cigar. From that moment, Buffett decided to spend his life making money. First investment. Buffett was exposed to stocks from a very early age. He bought his first stocks at the age of 11. At that time, Buffett bought 3 shares of Citi Services Preferred for 38 shares. Immediately after that, the stock price dropped rapidly, causing confusion for him. So he sold it as soon as it increased a little, making a very small profit. But unfortunately, after only a short time, Citi Services Preferred shares skyrocketed to 200 USD or share. If he hadn't been in a hurry to sell, he would have made a much larger profit. Thanks to that, Buffett learned his first lesson in the stock market. This greatly influenced his investment decisions later. Doing business since childhood. Do you wonder where young Buffett got the money to invest for the first time at the age of 11? Of course, for someone like Buffett, he won't ask for money from his parents or anyone. He started doing odd jobs to make money when he was 5 to 6 years old. It could be as simple as selling candy, selling Coca-Cola, selling things he collects, etc. Through many different jobs, he had more than $100 for himself at the age of 11. When he was a little older, he also delivered newspapers, washed cars, and even invested in agricultural land. When he reached high school, Buffett and his friend Don Danley bought a pinball machine to start implementing a larger business plan. They negotiated with the barber shop to place their pinball machine here, so people coming in for haircuts could play while they waited. The machine immediately attracted attention and brought profits to Buffett on the first day. Not stopping there, he used the profits from the machine to invest in more machines like this and put them in barber shops around the area where he lived. After 1 year, Buffett sold this business for more than $1,000. Just like that, by the time he graduated from high school, Warren Buffett had built himself a fortune worth $5,000, equivalent to $55,000 today. Decisions and learning. Having started his own business from a young age, Buffett formed the mindset that continuing his education at university would only hold back his ability to make money. Therefore, even though he received an admission offer from the prestigious Wharton Business School at the University of Pennsylvania, he did not feel very interested. But in the end, thanks to his father's persuasion, he still accepted admission. However, After a while he moved to study near home at the University of Nebraska and graduated from there with a bachelor's degree in business administration. Although he could have continued his business path with the savings he had accumulated, he chose to continue his studies. Surprised by being rejected by Harvard, Buffett did not lose heart and continued to New York and enrolled in Columbia because he knew Benjamin Graham was teaching here. Speaking of Benjamin Graham, this is a person who has a great influence on Warren Buffett. After reading the book, The Intelligent Investor, written by Graham, he was immediately attracted. The book's value investing philosophy was deeply imprinted in Buffett's subconscious, and it was also the key to completely changing his life. Career as an adult. Although Buffett was once the best student in the class that Benjamin Graham taught, Graham refused to accept him to work at his company. So, after earning his master's degree, Buffett returned to Omaha and worked at the securities firm Buffett Falk & Co. of his father from 1951 to 1954. In 1952, he married Susan Thompson and had 3 children, Susan Alice, Howard Graham, and Peter Andrew. Later, the reason Buffett changed jobs in 1954 was because Graham changed his mind and invited Buffett to come to his company to work. So he came to New York with his family and worked at Graham's company for 2 years. By 1956, Graham dissolved the company to retire. At this time, Buffett returned to his hometown and started a business with a capital of $140,000. He runs his own company called Buffett Partnership Ltd. By 1957, he had bought a house for $31,500 USD, which is also the house he is currently living in. By 1960, Buffett owned 7 companies. Thanks to profits from these companies, in 1962, he officially became a millionaire. Buffett then merged these 7 companies and invested in a textile company called Berkshire Hathaway, buying such a large amount of shares that he could completely control this company. Initially, he applied Ben Graham's value theory. As the business progressed, it became a long-term investment. Profits from trading textile products are used to invest in other items. In the late 60s, he changed his company from textile production to insurance business. In 1967, Berkshire paid its first and only dividend of 10 cents. In 1969, Buffett liquidated the partnership and transferred its assets to the partners. The 80s are considered a boom period in Buffett's career. His net worth as of 1982 was $376 million, and it even nearly doubled, reaching $620 million in just 1 year. Even though he became a billionaire at the age of 56, Buffett still maintains a modest salary of $50,000 per year at Berkshire Hathaway. In 1988, Buffett invested in Coca-Cola and quickly owned 7% of this large corporation's shares. After 27 years, this investment has increased 16-fold, equivalent to an average annual return of about 11%. Buffett officially surpassed Bill Gates and became the richest person in the world in 2008. His net worth is currently estimated at about $62 billion. However, this position was regained by Bill Gates the following year, pushing him to second place. Committed to giving fund. Although he is a billionaire, Buffett is known for his remarkable frugality. He still lives in his old house, doesn't use a cell phone, likes to use public transportation, and eat fast food. In particular, he often does charity work to help others. In 2010, he and Bill Gates founded a fund called Commitment to Giving. They jointly decided to donate at least half of their assets to charity when establishing this fund. In 2016, Buffett donated nearly $3 billion worth of shares to charities. In total, he gave away more than $28.5 billion. Buffett was awarded the Medal of Freedom by President Obama in 2011. After Trump won the presidential election in November 2016, he bought about $12 billion in common stock. This amount is more than 200% of the amount of shares Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway company bought in the first 3 quarters of 2016, with a total value of $5.2 billion. Investment philosophy. Surely many investors around the world have been guided by Warren Buffett's investment strategies and philosophy. His profound philosophies have been summarized and widely circulated to help any value investor. Buffett is famous for his two most important principles. Rule number 1 is, never lose money, and rule number 2 is, never forget Rule 1. In Buffett's 2004 letter to shareholders, he wrote, "Investors should remember, excitement and expenses are the enemy. Be fearful when others are greedy and greedy when others are greedy. Others are afraid." Buffett has also advised investors to be very careful in turning investments into speculation. Speculation will certainly be very attractive because of the huge profits that can bring investors in a short time. But the easier something is, the easier it is for people to make mistakes. He very cleverly compared speculation to the fairy tale Cinderella. As investors continue to speculate on companies with large stock prices compared to possible future profits, sooner or later, they will end up like Cinderella. Because she stayed at the party for so long, all the glamour returned to its original position in an instant. Only the ragged clothes, the pumpkin, and the mice remain. Speculators often believe that they will be able to sell at just the right time, just as Cinderella may believe that she can leave the party seconds before the clock strikes 12 midnight. But things are not that easy. She was so engrossed in dancing that she didn't pay attention to the time, so it wasn't until the clock rang that she hurriedly left. How many speculators can pay every bit of attention to time and leave at the right time? Or will it be when the stock price plummets that you will regret not selling sooner? According to Buffett, a company is more important than its price. He believes that buying a good company at a fair price is much better than buying a fair company at a good price. Regarding the relationship between price and value of goods, Benjamin Graham once told Buffett that price is what you pay, and value is what you can get. So no matter what the product is, he always wants to buy quality goods when they are on sale. For Buffett, a good investor is not necessarily a genius. He once said, "Investing is not a game where a person with an IQ of 160 beats a person with an IQ of 130. To prove this, he gave a very convincing example of scientist Isaac Newton, who is known to the whole world as a genius with historical inventions. However, genius Isaac Newton was not good at investing. Newton once lost a lot of money when investing in the South Sea Shipping Company. His huge failure in investing made him realize that no matter how good he was at calculating the movements of the stars, he could not predict human folly. As for a reasonable holding period, Buffett's view is, when I own shares in great businesses with talented management, I want to hold those shares forever. Buffett doesn't like change. He always follows the direction of finding profit from the lack of change. Typically, in the case of Wrigley gum, candy that is less negatively influenced by the internet. When wanting to buy a company, Buffett believes that the most suitable time is when a potential company is in temporary trouble. It would be great to buy companies that are on the operating table. Buffett is a person who has a strong belief in the stock market's ability to recover after a crisis. He continued to give very specific evidence about the market of the 20th century. At that time, America experienced many turbulences, typically 2 world wars, in addition to costly military conflicts. In addition, there is the Great Depression, which includes countless recessions and financial crises, oil shocks, constant epidemics, presidential resignations. But these things have very little impact on the stock market. The Dow still increased strongly from 66 up to 11,497 points. Successful and failed business deals and career. The deal was successful. As a legendary investor, Warren Buffett has achieved a lot of success in investing. One of his most successful deals was the purchase of shares in the Geico Insurance Company, which was also the company of Benjamin Graham Buffett's idol at that time. When he learned that his respected teacher was the chairman of Geico, Buffett took the train from New York to Washington to learn, and was fortunate to meet Lorimer Davidson, an executive of Geico at that time. The conversation did not only last 15 minutes as imagined, but lasted up to 4 hours. Buffett asked very carefully and thoroughly the information he wanted to know about Geico, because Buffett always wants to understand the investment so he can determine its intrinsic value. Thanks to that, he can more accurately assess the business situation and growth prospects of the business. Regarding Geico, this is a company founded in 1936 in Texas by Leo Goodwin. The company primarily sells auto insurance through direct mail, not through agents. Even more, Geico only specifically targets government employees, a group of people whose claim rates are lower than average. Thanks to this form, the company's profit margin is 5 times higher than other insurance companies. Therefore, Buffett saw very attractive potential in this investment, with a very significant valuation compared to intrinsic value. After that meeting, Buffett decided to invest in Geico with 65% of the assets he had at that time, about nearly $20,000. This is the first time that Buffett puts his eggs in one basket, while his previous investments were diversified into many stocks. This proves how strong Buffett's belief is in Geico. Of course, Buffett's faith is not misplaced. After a year, his capital increased by 50%, and he sold it right at that time in 1957. Although he did not hold the stock for too long, having an income rate of up to 50% from a stock within 1 year is an incredible achievement for Buffett. Because with previous investments, his annual income rate only reached a maximum of nearly 30%. Buffett believes that the success of the Geico deal is due to the knowledge he has gathered, not luck, thereby contributing to forming a part of Buffett's future investment strategy system. That's why Geico has become one of Buffett's most favorite stocks. But there's still a bit of regret in Buffett's decision, in that he could have made an even higher profit if he hadn't sold right away. Not long after the sale, Geico's stock prices continued to increase greatly. At this time, Buffett realized that long-term investing would bring better profits. In 1995, Buffett fully owned Geico for $2.3 billion. Not only Geico, there are many other successful deals associated with Buffett's name. He proved that with value investing, every risk can become an opportunity. When he bought shares of American Express Company right when the company was facing a major scandal. But thanks to that, Buffett bought at the bottom and earned 10 times more profits after nearly 10 years. One deal that cannot be ignored is the deal that sponsored Tom Murphy, director of Capital Cities, and also a manager, very popular with Buffett, to buy ABC Company. This investment soon became a huge windfall when Capital Cities, or ABC, was acquired by Disney for $19 billion in 1995. The deal failed. There is no investor who has not experienced failure at least a few times in their life. This is no exception, even for Warren Buffett. Despite being a famous investor with many successful deals in history, Buffett does not always make the right decisions. Buffett himself has admitted his mistakes many times, and he credits his part in the acquisition of Berkshire Hathaway as the first big failure of his life. At present, Berkshire Hathaway is in the top 3 largest listed companies in the world, ranked by Forbes magazine in 2017. As a large enterprise with a market value of up to $400 billion, along with operating in a variety of business fields such as insurance, banking, manufacturing, services, retail. Surely not many people believe it, that Berkshire Hathaway was a poor company at the time Buffett bought it. Berkshire Hathaway is a textile and garment company founded in 1955, formed by the merger of 2 yarn factories, Berkshire and Hathaway. This company was once considered a big man in the fiber industry. With more than 12,000 workers, 15 factories, and annual revenue of around $120 million. However, within just a few years, the closure of 7 factories caused thousands of employees to be fired and pushed the company into difficult times. Still, Buffett believes that Berkshire Hathaway's stock has fallen below its intrinsic value. So even though the overall value of the company plummeted due to the impact of the textile industry downturn, he still bought shares of Berkshire Hathaway, starting in 1962. During that time, He also noticed that every time it closed or divested a factory, the company bought back shares from investors. Buffett himself also received an offer to resell shares from his manager Seabury Stanton during a visit to Berkshire in 1964. Initially, when negotiating the selling price, Buffett set the price at $11.5 per share. However, a few weeks later he received an email from Stanton offering to buy at a price lower than Buffett's offer of $0.13 per share.